I mean, they've been following him in Japan, which outside of the U.S. probably has the most
it's the
competitive
best
league.
Yeah.
But again, it's not the best players in the world.
Right.
So, do you think all this hype is warranted for this guy?
If he were 28, I would say no, but he's 23, so he can adjust.
Yeah.
I mean, he won't hit his prime.
103 is 103 no matter where you go.
He won't hit his prime for 6 years, and 103 miles an hour is 103 miles an hour. I mean, that's almost Aroldis Chapman starting. Like, that's insane. That's almost unheard of.
The whole batting thing, I don't think he's going to bat 300 in MLB.
I don't either. But even for a pitcher, if you bat 250,
I know that's way above.
Fine.
I would give you mad props if you bat 250. This pitcher hit 15 home runs or something.
His power's good. Yeah.
I'd be like, yeah, fine.
He could be a 20-win, 20-homer guy, man. That'd be awesome.
Did Babe Ruth? Did they track those kind of stats, like wins and stuff back then?
I think so.
Did he ever get 20 wins, 20 home runs
in the same year? I don't know.
Baseball was way different back then too.
Yeah, there were 12 teams.
Yeah, so
it's a very different era. We were talking about this last night at the brewery too, about who the best baseball players were. They were like Babe Ruth. I'm like, well, he didn't really. I want to see him go against Pedro Martinez and see if he can still. That's dominate.
It's like you can't compare any athletes from any sport into different eras because all the eras are different and they play differently, and you can't compare a Curry to the 80s
right. Well, I mean,
basketball teams because Curry and the Warriors are so completely different than any 80s team that we ever saw.
Yeah.
So it's just it's not the same game.
It's hard enough to compare LeBron to Jordan. Imagine trying to compare Mike Trout to Babe Ruth. It's almost impossible.
It's baseball too, so baseball's so much of a weird
yeah.
He bats 300 and
now you have all the
he bats 300, hits 30 home runs, but he's actually not that good because he's terrible at defense. But you don't really notice that on defense.
Yeah, now you have all the analytics that track every step that everybody takes.
Yeah. So, but anyways, so that's that sweepstakes. You had a lot of big sweepstakes for free agents and trades, and a lot of people just waiting for the first dime to drop. But other than the big names, and these are still big names, but not Stanton and guy from Japan, which I'm still not going to pronounce. But who are your top, give me the top 4 MLB free agents going into this. I mean, we're already in the free agency, but
right.
Give me your top 4. Where do you think they're going to land? What is it looking like right now?
I'm thinking, so you've got, I would say my top 4 left are probably Darvish, Jake Arrieta, JD Martinez, and Eric Hosmer.
Yeah.
I would say, I think JD actually has a solid chance to resign with the Diamondbacks if they're willing to put up the money. Going into the playoffs definitely helped.
The problem with the Diamondbacks, and I was actually doing numbers crunching, which I've never done for baseball before, but our salary going into last year was $90 million at the start of the year.
Uh-huh.
If we were to sign JD Martinez, or coming into this next year, without signing JD Martinez, it's $124 going into the year. So with signing JD Martinez, he's going to
150 almost. You're going to be up there.
And that's going to be, I mean, it's not going to be 150 all at once, obviously, but it's going to be, so that's maybe $20 million extra, so $140 million. And then in 2 years, we're going to have to re-sign Paul Goldschmidt too.
Right.
So
I would imagine Greinke gets dealt by then.
Yeah. I imagine that too. And I wouldn't mind that, but I would like us to keep hold of JD Martinez, but again, we were in the playoffs before JD Martinez came. We got better with JD Martinez, of course, but we can always look to do some other trade. Because JD Martinez, he was never a bad player, but he kind of came out of nowhere last year.
Yeah, he was actually was a veteran who just kind of moved around for the Astros and Tigers. And
that's what I'm saying. We can pick up another veteran
great.
like
this
that.
Year, he was amazing.
We can pick up another veteran that's trending upward and okay, this is what we're gonna do going into the playoffs.
And,
so I'm not.
And the Diamondbacks have good hitting, so that they shouldn't be too worried, even if they lose him. I think if the Giants don't get Stanton, that's their top
JD
target.
Martinez.
Yeah, I know the Cardinals,
and I think either one of them makes them a favorite to be in the playoffs.
Yeah,
in the West. So
I mean, who knows? He could shake things up and go to Seattle. It seems like a big free agent goes to Seattle every year for some reason. I don't know why. It just happens, but. I'll say,
dude, Seattle's a nice place, man.
I've never been there.
Seattle's a nice place.
I'm gonna say he goes to the Cardinals.
JD Martinez.
Yeah.
Again, no. Cardinals
I think Stanton goes to one and JD goes to the other. That'd be my guess.
So it's like either like if that's what we're waiting for. That's why it's taking so long.
Well, once the Ohtani and Stanton markets are done,
then
which has to happen by Christmas, it's gonna go crazy. But the winter meetings also start Monday, so that's when everybody's gonna get together and start trading with each other.
All right, so that's JD Martinez. Who else was on your top 5 list?
Eric Hosmer. I definitely think he ends up in Boston. I'm almost 100% sure he ends up in Boston.
That'd be good for Boston. And then we got Yu Darvish, obviously, Jake Arrieta.
I know. I don't. This is wishful thinking.
This is good pitching. There's a lot of good pitching out here on this list.
If the Cubs get Ohtani, I can almost guarantee they'll get Darvish. That's what their plan is.
Oh, really? So they're trying to look for the same team?
The Cubs are all about trying to get both of them. I know the Rangers are also trying to get both of them. So the Rangers' plan was to deal Darvish for prospects and then re-sign him back with Ohtani.
Really?
So, yeah. I don't know if Ohtani wants to play with Darvish, but I know that's a lot of the team's plans. So just that's something to think about. Although I don't think the Cubs will land Darvish. I think he's going to get more money somewhere else because I think he's, given how bad his World Series performance was, I think he's going to take as much money as he can get.
Yeah, and I mean, Yu Darvish is good.
Oh, I love Yu Darvish. He's great.
Everyone, Kershaw had really, really bad performance in the playoffs forever. Doesn't mean you're a bad pitcher.
Oh, no, not at all.
It's different.
I do kind of think Darvish ends up back in Texas, though. I had that feeling.
But he ends up back in Texas, but Ohtani goes to
probably Seattle.
Instead.
Yeah.
All right, so you have one. You have Jake Arrieta. So what? Because Jake Arrieta was your boy in Chicago.
I'm gonna miss him so much, man. I mean, the Cubs are still talking about bringing him back, but he's 31, and the Cubs don't want to bring him, I think, on a 3-year deal, and he wants like a 6-year deal. They're not even close.
He's 32.
32. Okay, yeah, he's not even it's not even close on the deals part. That's the problem. That's why he hasn't been re-signed yet. Somebody's gonna give him a deal. It's gonna be some kind of lesser team that needs a big name, like the Padres or not the Marlins because they don't have the money, but a team like that.
It'd be sad to see him go though, because he's just like that Chicago guy. So Chicago baseball.
I know the Orioles are looking for a pitcher. That's where he started, so he might go back there. You know that teams like Boston and the Yankees are always going to be in on players like that. So okay, so we got Jake Arrieta, Yu Darvish, Eric Hosmer, and JD Martinez. You got one more big free agent. Who's your 5th biggest free agent? Where are they going? So on this probably
list that I got,
Moustakas,
Mike
Moustakas.
There's a lot of guys on here that are right around the same age. They're all 29 to 30.
Or Wade Davis. Wade Davis as a closer is huge right now. Getting a closer. I know the Cubs really do want to re-sign him, but I'll go with Moustakas. I'm trying to think who needs help at third base. I can't think off the top of my head. I know the Padres are interested in Moustakas. They're also interested in Hosmer, actually, because they might just move Will Myers.
Padres seem to be doing a lot of moves here.
They always try to make moves. It just always kind of ends up backfiring.
Because they're the Padres.
They always need the help. I mean, let's be honest.
They're like, get some free agents. Try. And they're like, yeah, you're San Diego. You're a horrible sports town.
I know, right? Yeah. They ran the Chargers out, and they got all upset when they left.
I know. They're like, why are the Chargers leaving? Why did you never come to any of our games? Why are our stands always empty if there's this many fans that are whining about us leaving?
I know. It's amazing. I'm really trying to think where Mike Moustakas might go.
Like, who's Boston's third baseman?
The kid, Rafael Devers.
Oh,
yeah, he's gonna be their third baseman of the future. But I want to see like who the latest prediction for Mike Moustakas is Royals re-sign with the Royals. I could see that.
Yeah, I mean that's the cop out answer though.
It is the I don't want to say that. That's the problem.
That's the cop out answer.
How about this? I'll shake it up. Los Angeles Angels. They're going for it this year,
dude. And then they're gonna go for it this year, and then not make anything because that's how the Angels always are.
Oh, that's exactly how it goes.
The Angels are going to sign all these big free agents and then lose more games than they lost last year. That's how it's going to work for the Angels.
Yep.
That's always how it works. Okay, so we got one more thing to talk about.
All right.
We talked about our free agent stuff, and you wanted to talk about like why the MLB offseason is so slow so far. And it's like there hasn't been like no one's touching anything, and that's because of we've got these two giant players out there that everyone wants, and everyone's trying to get in the sweepstakes to get him. So they're freeing all this stuff up, and they're making the pitches to them. And I think once, like you said it earlier, and once one of those players goes, then it's going to be like a domino effect, like kind of like in 2012. When LeBron, saying NBA, this is NBA wise, but when LeBron and Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade were all up for free agency, and
everyone was waiting on LeBron.
Everyone was waiting on LeBron to decide, and then it all just happened like within a few days.
Yep.
So,
I really think just given until 2 days ago, all 30 teams were still in on Ohtani. And then when he eliminated the 23 or whatever, now people are starting to look elsewhere. Once he signs, it's just going to domino.
Yeah.
Because I think there's really only 3 teams that can get Stanton at this point.
Yeah, and it's a trade, so it's a little bit like
right. As soon as I would say less than a day after Ohtani signs, is when you start seeing. So
when do you think Ohtani is going to make a decision?
Well, he has to decide by the 22nd of December. Okay. So that's the rule, or 23rd of December.
Do you think he waits all the way until then, or? Because that would be kind of
narrowing it down to 7 teams already. I don't think so. I imagine most of the interested teams are still going to pressure him to sign by Monday. I think because of the winter meetings, they have to get their team starting ready.
Maybe next week we'll talk about who he signed and
right,
and maybe the domino effect will be happening on that day. So we're like, all these trades,
updates, that'd be my guess. I would guess he signs by Monday, but I mean. I don't know. He could take the whole 21 days or 18 days or whatever's left. I don't remember how many days.
So he has until the 22nd. Is that just free agency in general, or is it just
no, just him? Because when he was posted, you have 21 days after you're posted.
Okay. Interesting
for international. Yep.
Interesting. It'd be interesting. I'm interested to see how well he actually pans out. I'm rooting for him to succeed, but at the same time, I'm like, is all this hype and stuff really, really warranted for this guy?
Yeah, I'm rooting for him too. Because
I always hate when an international player is hyped so much in any sport because you just don't see them at the amount of exposure as you do in our players here. And I guess baseball is a little different because you have these players that come out of high school. So I think the scouting in baseball is really, really deep. Like they do a lot of scouting for high schools and international and all this stuff. So I mean, in baseball, again, is like a really, really. There's a lot of foreign players in baseball, anyways.
Yeah, there absolutely is. My biggest thing is if he's really interested in trying to stay out of the spotlight for the most part, maybe go to the Cubs because you're never going to be bigger than Chris Bryant or Anthony Rizzo. It's just never going to happen.
I don't know, dude.
Chris Bryant is probably the best Cub of all time based on talent. Just give him another 10 years and it's over. I mean, let's be honest. And we've had some good players.
I know, but if he's Babe Ruth, it's not going to matter where he goes.
I mean, that's true. But my point is, if he wants to stay under the spotlight at least for a couple of years, that would be the place to go.
Yeah, and he's 23, so he has time.
Exactly, and he can grow. That's what the Cubs tell
again.
He can
grow
with all these guys.
Interesting question. If he doesn't pan out immediately with all this hype behind him, even though he's only 23, and me and you understand that he's only 23 and just give him time, if he doesn't pan out immediately and have an impact in his first year, do you think that gets to him? Like all the media pressure and stuff.
I don't know if it'll get to him, but he will. He'll get it though.
Yeah.
Media will go after him. It will be very unfair. I don't think it'll get to him.
He's 23, guys.
He seems really confident, almost cocky, which is what you kind of have to have, especially if you're like, I'm going to pass up on all this money because I want to play now. I mean, you have to believe in your abilities.
A starting pitcher, you want to be cocky.
Oh, absolutely. You have to think that you're, and when you pitch 103 miles an hour, you have a right to be.
Yeah,
that's gonna be
interesting to see.
It's not like he gets. Yeah, it's not like he gets to the MLB. He's only gonna start pitching 96 or something like that.
Can he? I mean, it's kind of stupid asking this question because he was a starting pitcher in Japan. It's not like they don't have different rules or something. But seeing like a guy that throws 103, 102 and stuff throughout an entire season, starting every 6 days.
I imagine that he's gonna
Because
be
Aroldis Chapman threw that hard, but one inning
Right.
every few days.
Yeah, no, I understand.